Hey guys, it's Briggs. I wanted to do a lesson today, and the subject matter of this lesson is discernment. So how do we discern the truth when there are multiple narratives? So this is quite an interesting topic for today, based on where we are at globally, collectively, within humanity space at the moment. How do we discern the truth when there are so many narratives going on? The inspiration for this particular lesson is based on a personal experience that I have recently gone through, and I'm still actually sitting in at times. I'm trying to move out of it, but I'm still currently sitting in it. But it's a beautiful lesson, and it's one that I wish to teach, especially because most of you watching this show would have been drawn through a certain frequency. I assume that most of you would be on some sort of ascension path, therefore possibly looking to points of truth or how to discern truth within the network of spiritual teachers and leaders out there, as one example. Again, speaking to current affairs, we would speak to this: how do we discern truth with all the facts, especially with all the information that has come out with regards to COVID, etc., etc. So I'm going to jump right into it. The first thing I wanted to do was share something, and again, through these videos at this point in time, something that I continuously mention is that we are in the midst of a huge awakening. If you haven't already realized that, welcome. Welcome to the awakening. Those of you that would have started your awakening process prior to this, hopefully you've had a bit of a prep time, but this is the time we've been waiting for, and by we I mean starseeds, light workers, etc., etc. So just to reintroduce myself, if it's your first time, my name is Brigitte. I'm a starseed, medicine worker, way shower, and truth bringer, multidimensionally activated in my light body, so light language channel as well, and I'm really here just to share through some spiritual lessons with you. Bless me. Bless you. Awesome. So within the time of the Great Awakening, this sort of starts to occur. When everybody becomes a teacher or everyone is an expert, this can be a very confusing and chaotic time for society. However, this is the way it works when there is a great awakening that takes place on a global scale. Finding order within that chaos is for the seeker, you. Each starseed, as they find their way and walk their chosen path. Each seeker is the student of the way. At the same time, each seeker, as an activated individual, is also ready to teach. Okay, so those that are activated are ready to teach, and they will feel that within themselves resonating. Okay, therefore, when you listen to your teachers, know they are also seekers. They too are students. So each of us, it's like this beautiful mycelial network. Each of us has our teams, each of us have our teachers, and it just expands, because that's what we're looking to do, is expand our information, our awareness, our consciousness. So we're all performing different functions and levels. So again, through this, how do we discern truths? So again, this is going to be a spiritual teaching. However, this is relevant in the current time based on all the information out there with regards to leaders, global, corona, just conspiracy theories, etc., etc., etc. So take note and take into consideration that this is multi-level, multi-dimensional, as everything is. Okay, so what I wish to share in these experiences, usually how it occurs is you have two stories, or you have multiple stories. You call them narratives, call them stories, call them experiences, which brings you to a point of two different perspectives. We're going to work with the number 2 at the moment, two different perspectives. We're going to work in the individual level and not the collective level. Okay, COVID would be a collective experience. We're just talking to two individuals. So you would have two experiences, two perspectives, two narratives, two stories. Okay, each to a similar, with a subject matter. So let's say that there has been a difference in opinion and a difference in views with regards to a certain situation. Each person has given their opinion in views and their perspective, let's say on a social media platform, and this information is being received by a by a database of people. Okay, these people are then using the information that they have received and going, oh my gosh, this is either shocking or this is pleasurable. This information is sitting with me. Hold on, this information is confusing me. This information is too much for me. This information is overwhelming for me. So we're sitting with two bits of information to a viewership who are reading this and receiving it. Okay, bearing in mind that in order to receive a certain message, one has to be receptive to that message, which speaks to our lessons of frequency again. So our law of discernment falls in the category of the universal laws of higher awareness. Okay, one could also call it the law of I've forgotten the word now. Anyway, we'll stay with discernment. So you've got this viewership of people going, wow, where, why, how, etc., etc. Bearing in mind, you need to be receptive to that information, otherwise you wouldn't receive it. From there, you are already receiving signals with regards to your frequency. All right. Please bear in mind that there are no rights or wrongs within the information that you are receiving. You are merely pinging or becoming a match to one of those narratives or stories. All right. If you are reading both, you will automatically align with one. And this may be for many reasons. The simplest reason is that you are an energetic match to that story or story or narrative. All right. So you are a vibrational match to that story or narrative. If that story or narrative is not sitting well with you and you haven't sought out the other side, so it's creating conflict for you, and conflict is good because it pushes us in our ascension process to make decisions for ourselves so that we don't repeat the law of karma. All right, so this is why the law of discernment is so important as a universal law. It is bringing something to the forefront that is creating conflict in you so that you can reevaluate it, reassess it, and then make a decision for yourself as a sovereign being, not influenced by anything else. You are just receiving the data. The rest is up to you to discern and decide whether you are resonating with it as false or true. Okay, and so this is how we do it. One of the steps that I would like to go through, or is this sort of simple step process, is one, go back to historical data. So you have two bits of data from two different people. Go back historically and read through their data or receive the data, whether that's in the form of art, verbal communication, written text, music, etc., etc. They all have a resonant feel to them. So you're going to go historically back and start feeling through that data. You are also going to take note of your personal, mental, and emotional clarity at that point in time. So where are you? Are you in a space of annoyance? Are you in centered, grounded neutrality, etc., etc.? It's important to make sure you know where you are within the story so that you can remain objective and be the observer. So all we really ask, a lot of the ascension process is to be the witness, bear witness and hold space to the events that are happening so that we can really be transmuters of energies. So it's asking you to be objective, to set a standard with regards to your emotional and mental state when you're receiving this data. So then you're going to move on. You're going to evaluate your data. Okay, what story has come up with regards to the data within myself? Which story or narrative is it matching to? Am I needing validation for one of these stories? Is it a story that has come up in my life that I'm requiring validation, and therefore I'm leaning towards one story as the truth? or the other story as the truth, okay? Usually when we requiring validation for a certain story, it's based on a trauma that has been unintegrated or not yet fully integrated. And so we require a validation to a negative polarized story, all right? Bearing in mind that there's negative and positive polarized stories. Neither one is incorrect. They both sit in the oneness of each other, okay? Because you have two people with two different perspectives. Neither is false. Please understand that. Neither is false. So you're sitting looking to discern truth, but neither is false, if that makes sense. So this is all about resonance. What is sitting in your gut as truth? So again, so you're going to reevaluate, see where you possibly are seeking validation to a negatively polarized story or a positively polarized story, all right? You can then stop the process there and go, this is making sense. I'm seeking validation to this negatively polarized story of a trauma that is not yet integrated. Or I'm seeking validation to this positively polarized story because it's sitting well with me and I feel that I've done the personal work and I'm matched to this frequency. If we're in negative state and we wish to move further and go, shit, I didn't realize that I still had work to do here, we can go further. We can then go further and look at the historical data of ourselves. So looking at the perpetual patterns that have presented that match that story, all right? So you'll go and look at your historical data that match the story and you will come up with another set of values, which you then have a choice point again to go, wow, I have some work to do, or whatever it is that your choice point is. The point is that it's yours to move through. Okay, in this ascension process, you can have many, many teachers. People can be cognitively receiving the information, or they can really be activating their DNA fully to integrate the information and move it into a positively polarized state, okay? Therefore, clearing that trauma in essence and moving forward to the next set of karmic lessons, generally speaking, that we need to move through. All right. What else do I want to share? Yeah, so we've moved through those points. It's basically looking at historical data, seeing where you are in your mental and emotional balanced or imbalanced states while receiving data, seeing where you're requiring validation, if it's positively polarized or negatively polarized, knowing that you have a choice point to move through further awareness and dig deeper down into the rabbit hole with personal historical data, and then moving to a choice point. Please note, the important part of this is the following. Take what resonates and leave the rest. Take what resonates and leave the rest. So essentially, it's going detach from these two stories that are not even yours, all right? However, again, in the collective, so we're speaking to the individual, in the collective sense, it would affect you. So like COVID, etc. For now, it affects us. We need to know whose side we're on, etc., etc. But in the case of the individual, if it's not affecting you too much, remain the objective bystander. Go within, look what personal work needs to be done, and carry on with your own work, basically. Again, if you do feel you need to move through an absolute, so not many things are absolute, but if you feel you need to move to an absolute in terms of a truth point for discerning, all you have to speak to is your gut feel. What is resonating with you? Where does the information that you are receiving feel easy? Where does it feel light? Okay, when you are listening or receiving information, again, whether it be spoken word, artwork, music, coding, whatever it is, if it is feeling light, easy to receive based on your receptivity, because it's a lock and key mechanism, then this is something that is being emanated from a positively polarized teacher, a teacher that has been activated, all right? If it's sitting in a negative space, it is neither wrong and it does not need to be judged. You just need to go, this is not sitting well with me, and perhaps there's still integration there that needs to happen. Excellent. Moving right along. you know, non-attachment. You know, and the other thing is with this is basically the easiest way to move through discernment is to look at everything objectively. Be the objective bystander. When we get subjectively involved, we may be moving through distorted points based on personal trauma triggers. Okay, so be the objective bystander so that you can sit in a purified, grounded, centered space and witness in neutrality what is happening. All right. Then there's non-attachment, non-expectation, compassion. Compassion always, that heart space always, always, always. Non-attachment, compassion, non-expectation, viewing as objective. And again, the last one of most importance is take what resonates and leave the rest. Don't let it worry you too much. Don't let it worry you too much. Anyway, guys, that's my lesson on discernment. I'm going to end off there. I could go on forever. I love teaching. If you guys have any questions on specific things with regards to your ascension process that you would like information on, please let me know. I would be happy to share with you. And yeah, just think of your personal experiences. Think of, you know, expand this to what's happening in the collective now and see what is resonating with you and see where you are just sitting with a bit of uneasiness with regards to information, again, particularly relevant to our timeline now, which is COVID. Other than that, guys, have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. It's a lovely day here in Cape Town, and I'm sending you lots of love. Cheers.